Doctors of Reddit, what was your "this person is obviously freaking lying/faking" moment? EMS here. Had a patient start seizing in front of the cops after they were pulled over for possible drunk driving. We get there and patient is still on and off seizing. We get them on the stretcher and in the back of the ambulance. Surprisingly, the cop joins us. As I take their arm, the shakes start up again. So I tell them, yo, if you want this medication, I need you to stop so I can start an IV real quick. Patient stops to let me start the line, and once I say I'm done, they start back up. You gotta say, get the ocular needle, and have someone else say, you mean the one that goes in the eye. Then magically they will stop. I've had 4 steroid injections into my eye. Can confirm. Not fun. You realize you're just perpetuating unhealthy body standards about having like really jacked eyes, right? I've had 17 injections into my left eye and 24 into my right. I'm able to see 50 miles clearly and have on several occasions seen 10 seconds into the future. I can't sleep at night anymore though. I see right through my eyelids. Wouldn't recommend. Dad, get off Reddit. Not mine, but my mother's, an ER doc at the time. Scruffy guy, mid-50s, comes in looking for non-specific help. Confused, smelly, dressed in ragged mismatched thrift store suit, clearly homeless and just looking for a bed. Keeps muttering something about quantum, obviously a little off his rocker. Mom decides, might as well give him a workup and teach the residents. Turns out the guy's in near total renal failure, so they give him dialysis. Snaps to. Suddenly coherent. Suddenly sane. Suddenly talking about real actual quantum physics. Turns out he's a math professor. Some organ problem sent him into a mental tailspin on his way to a conference a month earlier. Got off train in wrong city. Been wandering the streets ever since. Missing and presumed dead. They are not always faking. Common side effect of kidney failure is delirium. Mental illnesses are a common side effect of a lot of things. God knows how many people are homeless and mentally ill because they are aging and have a potassium deficiency. Note to self. Buy bananas for homeless. It's a really common issue in patients with dementia and Alzheimer's and is often missed because it's just assumed any increase in symptoms is because of the diagnosis they already have and not something else. Had a patient fake a ruptured ectopic pregnancy to get narcotics. Says she was diagnosed with an ectopic at another hospital and given medication to end it. Came into our hospital in extreme abdominal pain, rolling around, yelling, had bleeding, the whole 9 yards. Gave her a bunch of pain medication so we could get an ultrasound. Ultrasound showed nothing. Urine pregnancy test showed nothing. Beta HCG was 0. Turns out she was conveniently on her cycle, which made the whole thing very convincing. Got records from the other hospital. Patient had been there yesterday, but was not pregnant for them, nor was she diagnosed with an ectopic pregnancy. Definitely was a, wow, she just made up this entire thing. We had a lovely conversation about all the results. She ended up screaming at me, threatening to sue me for all I'm worth and stormed out. Jokes on her. I'm worth -200,000 of student loan debt. I'm so poor, I'm not legally allowed to die. Med students. Points gun at self. Government employee. Oh no you freaking don't. Smacks gun out of hand. Puts gun in mouth in front of computer. FBI guy crawls out of the webcam and takes it. I've tested the hearing of a few kids, like 10 to 12 years old, pretending to be deaf in one ear. All you do is turn on your microphone and talk in the deaf ear at a quiet level and ask them a question about something they care about. Like young boys, for example, always fall for it when you ask them, what video games do you play? At 20 decibels. Works every time. This is off topic, but a bartender once told me that if someone looked underage trying to buy alcohol, he'd ask to look at their hands and say, nah, you're not 18. All the actual minors would be wide-eyed and incredulous and ask how he knew just from looking at their hands. All the 18 plus would call him out on it. Around here we ask for ID. Around here they do too. The problem is that the doormen are a third party. The same bar has had some less than effective doormen over the years. Seeing as the bar staff are liable for serving minors and could get fined. while the door staff essentially get off scot-free. Sometimes they had to resort to other means. If I don't get it, does that make me underage? Essentially, you know whether you're underage or not. The mystery is how someone figured it out. Unless you know they're wrong. Not a doctor, but a hearing aid dispenser in private practice. Had a patient come in for a hearing test, young guy in his mid-20s, which is already unusual. Main issue is that he's getting noise complaints about his music. No issues with his ears physically, so I do the hearing test, basically ends up with a profound hearing loss. Weird because that's basically sign language territory there. I walk behind him and ask him what his plans are for the evening, to which he responds appropriately. Definitely what we call a non-organic hearing loss. He was trying to get the results he wanted, to justify being a jerk of a neighbor. Well, that is both clever and profoundly jerky. I hope you prescribed extra silent music, as to preserve whatever's left of your sensitive hearing. I also get plenty of kids who are malingering, and don't really need glasses, but your idea of how a 4-opter works is not quite accurate. Look, I just need them to look cool for the nerd chicks. Don't know why they're hassling doctors for that. You can buy blank lenses glasses online for like $20 tops. I had an employee tell me their spine couldn't stay straight, and when they tried to sit up, they'd flop to the left or right. Followed that up with telling me they found out that this was due to one of their lungs being deflated. You know, because your lungs hold your spine straight. A highlight of my career when he finally quit because he just wasn't about that cubicle life. Yeah, you would have more than a bad posture with a pneumothorax. Shortness of breath and some coughing is what I've seen. Was with a dude the first time it happened to him. Had to escort him back to base to the hospital. I'm currently training in Swedish massage, and I'm doing the anatomy, physiology, and pathology. Reading that I went, scoliosis may explain sitting to one side, but not both. Perhaps an inflamed disc or muscle weakness on one side, pulling the other side taut? Nope, wouldn't explain flopping. What, lungs? Stare at my hand out of all the back and chest muscles I have to memorize. Yeah, no. Disclaimer here, really not a doctor, but I have to be able to train to recognize signs of when to tell a client, you should really go to a doctor, or I'm calling an ambulance. Yeah, when he told me one lung was not just deflated, but fully deflated, and that's why he'd been having issues for months. Come on now. You've had a fully deflated lung for months. You're still alive. You just now went to the doctor, and they didn't immediately put you in the hospital. I wasn't born yesterday, Mary. Doctor, do you need to refill your meds? Patient, nope, still taking them. I'm asking because I know based off of my prescription that it is time for you to get more. If you don't need more, it means you aren't taking them. I love the I don't need a refill, but based on the last time it was filled you should have run out 2 months ago if you were taking it correctly. If this is in the US, that would be why. People try to ration their meds so they don't have to pay as much. It's sad really. They may or may not understand that it won't work quite right without the proper dosage, but they still have to try and save some money. Can confirm. My Advair is $460 a month. I take it 1 time a day instead of 2 times to make it last longer. I take albuterol and holy frick, that crap is expensive. I've had asthma attacks where I refuse to take it because I can't afford the $150 to $600 to refill it, and I might need it more later. The classic, I'll save it for later tactic that ends you up with about 100 healing potions after beating the final boss. So my mom is a doctor. She told me the story of a woman who came in and said she had been having seizures, and as a result she couldn't move her arms. So my mom tested her arms and tried to push it and see if she would react. The woman kept resisting and trying to keep her arm in place since she couldn't move it. My mom had to control herself from laughing and told the woman that she needed to relax. She then left the room and discharged the patient. Did she legitimately think not being able to move her arms would prevent others from moving them? Yeah, she did. My mom's like the type of doctors that see the patient and determine their illness and either deal with the medications or send them to a specialist. She always sees people who are addicted to drugs and want the medicines, or are homeless and try to find a place to stay. They'll do anything to prove that they're sick. It's kinda sad though. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more videos like this. Don't forget to leave your stories in the comments below.